Hey. Sorry, it's late at night, and I was gonna go to bed, and then I was like, I'm gonna do a podcast because I haven't really done one in a while. So the icon for the video is me like fixing my my hair, which I gotta get a haircut. I gotta split my wig, man, at some point here soon. But I'm working on the first few pages of Death Angel Squad, and I did this one live right here. This is, I mean, it's a rough sketch, but you get the idea. This is I'm going to work from this, and I'm really getting the armor down. This is the flying armor, air, land, and sea. Death Angel Squad. You want to be a Death Angel, kid? And here was my first rendition. Here's the land armor. That's the head. That's the basically the commander. And this is the first air armor. But now you see, I didn't like that. And there it is right there. And I'm just I know the guns look all square. They look like Uzis or something, but I wasn't really paying attention to the guns. I was trying to work out the armor, and it's all right, but it wasn't quite what I was looking for. And I'll show you where I'm going with it now. There we go. There's the flying armor right there. Look at that. See that? That's the flying armor. That's the air armor. It's looking pretty tight. And he's flying upside down. This is the opening page. I'll probably shrink him down a little bit, or at least move him over, because he's going off the page there. But I'm sketching it all out. The shield's connected at the elbow, basically, and he has a large weapon that launches multiple. I'll get into all that. I don't want to get off onto a tangent, but and I basically, here's the marine armor, pretty tight looking. He's got an underwater jetpack, and then here's the land armor, and they have code names. His code name is Nutjob, because he's an engineer, literally nut job, like nuts and bolts, and because he's a crazy mofo or whatever. And then here's the air armor. This is just the shape. He's shaping it out, shaping everything out. This is basically getting to know the characters, and I'm gonna have this. I'm trying to recruit an inker. Any inkers out there? So I've been so super busy, but when you're a hard worker like me, I'm always doing something, and so I've been doing a lot of basically working my butt off, and I wanted to do Death Angel Squad because I feel like it's a little bit more it's a good intro for Nutjob to be part of a team. And I think some of the storyline that I was getting into earlier that was meant for him, that was kind of in the future, after, like, post-apocalyptic, I think that's going to be for his son. Like, basically, his father fails on his mission to turn things around in and basically a sort of World War III scenario happens, but it's not the way people think it thought it would initially go down. It's not like everything. It's not like a nuclear war. Although some nukes go off, but it's more like the world goes like silently into the night. Like the world, like everything goes kind of like I'm getting off topic already, but kind of like the movie The Road. Like everything like, you know, humanity goes out with a sigh. You know what I'm saying? But I thought I would save that for future, for basically Nutjob's son, who basically is protecting small pockets of humanity in the in the post apocalypse. But anyway, yeah. So I'm gonna do like 3 really good pages of this Death Angel Squad, and so basically I'll show you what I've got sketched out for now. So this was the opening page, but it's gonna look more like this, except, you know, there's still gonna be a boat, there's like a huge yacht down here. And then, you know, basically you see like a submarine, right? It's hard. I don't know if you can see it that well, but hang on, let me you see the boat, the bottom of the boat up here. You see the dude in the aquatic armor coming up from the sub that's parked down below waiting for this boat to come by. And then basically that's the opening page. And and then you see inside the submarine, you see him, and he's like, you know, there's like shots being fired. I don't know if you can see him on the let me try to find him over here. Yeah, there's like tracer rounds, like just barely missing them, like that, you know what I mean, coming from this boat. A guy with a machine gun down here, and he's just kind of like, you know, whoa, they were ready for us this time, as he's like flying by. And then and you know, and he's like switching over to autopilot basically, so he doesn't get shot. And and you know, and he's like switching over to autopilot basically, so he doesn't get shot. Isn't it cool? It's pretty awesome, huh? Here comes the dude in the aquatic armor, splash, and the guy with the machine gun, you know, he hears it. I'll have some water splashing in the background. He goes to turn the machine gun to, you know, behind him, but it's too late. You know what I mean? You see a round go through his head, and then another round cuts his fingers off. Yeah, cool. Thank you. And then of course he's and then you see the guy in the armor fly by, and the, you know, flying towards you now with the boat in the background, of course. And then so I'll tell you what the rest of the I'll reveal pretty much the first issue what is it, like synopsis or whatever, basically the overall little story. So it's basically a complete story within itself. So they so they land on the so he turns around, lands on the boat, and the guy with the aquatic armor is already there. And you know, Nutjob's basically in the sub, and he's like you know, they're like talking back and forth through their little intercom in their ears, basically, and their little earpieces. And so they go up to these doors where the criminals are on the other, and what they're doing is they're raiding a boat that is delivering some drugs for this for a special, it's like a special little envoy for this this really powerful criminal's wife, basically. And it's like full of coke or whatever she does, heroin. You know, I don't really get into it. So basically yeah, so they're looking through the door, and they see all 3 guys on the other side of the door, because, you know, they have all kinds of gadgets and you know, and special you know, optics and imaging and all this stuff. And so basically, they see a guy standing right on the other side of the door waiting for him with a machine gun. So Nut Job's like, give him some. He hears, give him some gas, basically. So the one of them, and not either the air guy or the aquatic guy, doesn't matter. Whatever one I decide when I'm drawing it, just aims the gun like right at the dude, right at the dude's face, and he launches a gas canister right through the door and hits the guy holding the machine gun in the face and knocks him out. And so the guy with the machine gun falls back and he's like unconscious on the floor, and gas is just coming out. And the other criminals are like, the leader like nods to one of his guys to go get the machine gun. So it, basically, or they basically start firing first, actually. Is that the way I think I'm going to have it go? They just all out start firing, but basically, these guys are wearing armor, so it doesn't even matter. They're just on the other side of the door. I don't show it, but you just see them fire machine guns through the door, and they basically run out of ammo. So the boss is just kind of like nods to one of his guys to get the really big machine gun, because it's big. It's like it's like a giant machine gun, basically 60 cal or something. And so he runs and tries to grab it, and then you just see like him get shot right through the hole that the canister came through. Just bah, bah, bah. That guy just gets shot immediately and falls on the ground. And then basically and then the gas starts like choking everybody out, basically. And then you see them kicking the door, and then it's just the whole place is filled with gas, and people and the bad criminals can't breathe anymore. They're like gagging and vomiting and stuff. And then it's just it just shows the what is it? I'll show you this. It just shows this guy and this or I'm sorry, this guy right here, and there's smoke everywhere, and they're just blasting everybody, and it's just frames of silhouettes of people in the smoke with bullets, getting riddled with bullets and stuff like that. And so then basically they kill everybody except for one guy, kind of like huddling. He's just kind of like, all right, whatever, I surrender, and don't kill me. And so they basically take out, there's like suitcases and stuff, and they open them up filled with cash. So that's basically one of the ways they get their money, is they rob like drug dealers. And so basically they take all the money, and then they set the boat on fire and get in the sub and leave. And basically it cuts to you basically see I think from there it cuts to, as far as I got it now, it cuts to where you see helicopter, like one guy survives, and there's a helicopter picking him up, and then basically, or actually, or it's on the news or something like that, and the drug lord's like getting word. You see it like on the news, basically, and basically, or basically, the drug lord's watching it on the news as he's like talking to his people, because they tell him about it and tell him, and he's like either in his office or the back of his car somewhere, and and he's just kind of like the entire the entire shipment basically is gone. And then and from there it like basically shows these guys going back to their normal lives, or their semi-normal lives, which I'll get into later. But yeah, and they're basically, that's basically they're basically talking at the very end of the comic about the situation. So basically, that'll be the first issue of that, and I'm gonna do how many pages? I'm thinking uh it kind of depends once I start drawing it, but I'm pretty sure it should be at least 20 pages or so by the time I'm done with it. And I might have a little bit of a like, okay, like basically after that whole scenario shows them on the sub, and basically um I might have a kind of a flashback scene in there as part of a origin, which will be a dream sequence, I think. And then I'm not quite exactly sure how I'll end it, but it'll definitely be interesting. And like basically, I might just have it where like the main character wakes up, and he's just kind of like looking out over the ocean. Basically, they basically live in a submarine, and and uh, and they also have a couple other vehicles that are on the sub. It's a pretty big sub, and basically they're underwater most of the time. That's their base, but it's mobile, and and they have like you'll see. I'll get into that more later too. But I'm gonna do like a little Indiegogo for this, and I have it. I'm sketching it out now, and it's going really well. Like I'm really inspired to do this now. I think I have something cool here for sure. Death Angel Squad, and it'll say like land, air, and sea or something like that. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be cool. And the cover's basically gonna be like this, and it's gonna be black with them kind of coming out of the shadows. You know what I'm saying? And then in like metallic, shiny lettering, it's gonna say Death Angel and then Squad like underneath. Death Angel Squad. Issue number 1 coming up. That's gonna be fantastic, man. Yep. And man, I'll tell you what. Shout out to Gary Shipman's Titan. What is it? Mouse of Might. That guy, man, incredible. He'll if I'm definitely buying. I'm picking up an issue of that tomorrow, and I've been watching him for a few weeks now, basically, and yeah, Mouse of Might, Nighthawk Warrior knows. Excuse me. I need some. Let me go grab some coffee. I'll be right back. So, okay. So we're gonna do an Indiegogo, and I got a guy who's gonna help me this weekend for inking. He's gonna try it out anyway. I basically have recommended some channels to him to watch as inspiration. He's not like a professional inker, but he's going to give it a shot. And I told him my pencils are pretty tight. If you just follow my pencils, you know what I mean? And I was like, it's basically as long as you have confidence and you rotate the paper so you can get good, clean lines. And I said, and if you screw up a little bit here and there, I was like, just don't try to fix it, just keep going and finish it out. And I said I can go back, and do touch up, you know what I mean, with a little bit of white out here and there or whatever if I have to, or if I feel like something needs to be embellished a little more or whatever. Like it didn't, like my pencils didn't do it justice enough, and I want to go in and add a little bit more ink or whatever. So I told him, just as long as you have, I said, as long as you have some, quickness helps too with inks. The energy, like the fast energy, for action art. It's like you want quick, fast, clean lines. And I told him, as long as you tipper and pretty much, so that you can do clean lines and not be all scratchy and messy, and just basically outline everything and then follow my lines and do the hatching, and like pretty much right everywhere where you see my pencils, I was like, you should do fine, basically. And it's not that hard. I mean, I don't want to say inking is tracing, but it's a little like, I don't know. I would say like it's probably something that you can pick up quicker than penciling your own comics, is going over other people's pencils. You know what I mean, with inks, basically. What's up, Humphrey Bear? I'll show you what's up. I'm gonna be doing an Indiegogo soon, and we're gonna be turning out the first few pages of I'm just sketching it out. I'm sketching out, or basically, this is me perfecting this armor right here, which I wasn't really happy with. I put it. I wanted. I don't know. I had like a whole nother like look going on there, and I didn't like it. So now, the other day I wanted something a little more like angely, like, you know what I mean? But I don't want to like copy the Power Rangers, you know what I mean? But it's a little bit Power Rangery right there, but not totally. And then so that basically finally went to this. This is me really like shaping it all out, basically. And here I am, or here he is. Here it is, flying towards you right there. Look at that. That's tight. He's like looking down the boats, like behind him in the background. So he's basically out over the ocean. It's going to be tight. And these guys right here, Death Angel Squad, I'm just slowly developing. I might go with that. You know what I mean? Something very almost like medieval armor, Death Angel, like medieval armor writing, and then squad and kind of a white like cursive-y writing underneath there. Death Angel Squad with like some kind of a, and then I might like do like it's on a plaque almost, you know what I mean, like some kind of like design around it. And then so I have the cover. The cover's pretty much done right here, except I've changed his armor a little bit. But there's the cover right there, the three of them, and then it'll say Death Angel Squad. And basically, they are angels of death. Why are they the Death Angel Squad? Oh, let me get even more into the storyline. So they're backed up by militias, right? So the way things work is like when somebody's having a hard time with a drug dealer or a corrupt politician, and I'm going to do it a little bit in the future, like 2025, where there's like sanctuary cities. There's sanctuary states now where the country's like really dividing up, and there's a bit of a civil war going on, and there's like gangs and stuff are forming in different towns, and like militias are forming. So like basically there's like they're with a net, or he's like, so basically they're head of a network of militia, like special forces guys, you name it, like across the country, that basically communicate back and forth with each other, and like if somebody's having a problem, like one of their allies, they like go basically mesh shit up, you know what I mean? Like they just mess stuff up. Good thing I didn't say this was for children. This is for a little bit more adult content if you like that. This is a little more on like the Mark Silvestri type side, or like Wet Works, you know what I mean? This is like, it's a little bloody. It's like a horror thriller. Uh, and there's one dude, the bad guy. I don't want to give him away yet, but their main bad guy, he's like, he's not human. The main bad guy is not human, and that gets more into some other stuff later. But anyway, no, he's not human at all. And so basically, um, and this gets into what it later gets into what you could perceive as either aliens or demonic type entities, but I don't want to get too much into that right away. So anyway, um, so basically, and that's kind of like why it's a horror too. On top of just being, it's not just like a thriller. It's a bit of a horror. It gets into horror. So anyway, yeah, they have one. I'm gonna design a car, and it's basically for land operations, and it's like super heavily armored. It's called the Wrecker, and it's basically made for smashing into things. Basically, like it's super heavy, super armored, and basically is made for driving around and like power sliding into build and taking out parts of buildings and stuff. And of course it's got like heavy machine guns on it and all kinds of other stuff. So they have one vehicle called the Wrecker, and they have the submarine, and then of course the guy with the air armor has air armor. That's badass enough, you know what I mean? Like he can fly around, and he can launch missiles. He has like multiple. He has like this big crazy gun basically that can either launch missiles, launch gas, launch grenades, fire rounds, like fully automatic rounds. It's going to be pretty tight, and I already have. I'm going to get the cover, and then page 1, 2, and 3 done, and we're gonna ink them tight, and then maybe I'll try to find a colorist. Does anybody on here want to get in on this? Like that has some skills? Just let me know. Like if you want to color or something, like if you're good with Photoshop, just let me know. And we'll put up like maybe a color cover, and then we'll do an Indiegogo and see where it goes from there. And then I'll draw live. Like I'll start doing. I'll just set up. I got the camera for it now. I had it set up. Yeah, you can still in here, Humphrey Bear. There's 4 people watching. Thanks for watching. Thank you. Or I could just be talking to myself. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. So basically, um, yeah, if anybody has any skills that you want to get in on it, just let me know. And I don't have a solid inker yet. I'm just trying a guy out this weekend. It's a family member, so we're gonna see how it goes. If he can just follow my lines, you know what I mean. And, he's gonna have to practice doing the hatching all straight and nice lines. Then he's gonna have to be able to basically do that where I have hatching, do the hatching. If you can do that, it's not that hard. And Affinity Photo, or yeah, well, I'm sure it probably takes JPEGs and what's the other one? GIFs or whatever, right? So yeah. yeah, just let me know if you got some skills and you want to get in on this, and you want to color a page or something. Or I really like black and white. I think it would be cool to release it with color covers, and then black and white, and then have the colorist just color the cover, and we can divvy up if we get anybody who, if we do a successful anybody who wants to get in on it, if you know what I mean, if you if you if all our work comes together and we have a successful Indiegogo, we can, trust me, we can work out money from there. I'm not greedy. You know what I mean? I'm not greedy. And and maybe we could go full color. I like the idea of going black and white. Well, we'll see, Humphrey. Maybe we'll see. When maybe I'll send you some JPEGs and you can print them out, and or you can download them and bring them into Affinity and see how you do coloring them. Look, and it's basically reference things. That's what I'm going to start doing. Like, you know what I'm going to start doing? I'm going to start watching movies, and and basically, like, even for the opening scene, I'm gonna look for a movie of a yacht out over the ocean, and I'm gonna, if I have to, take a damn picture with my of the television with my phone or whatever I got to do to get that picture. You know what I mean? So that I can sit there and draw and look right at, and I'm gonna just literally watch movies. I don't care what movie it is, Avengers, Star Wars, whatever I need, Iron Man, whatever I gotta watch, and I'm gonna isolate certain scenes, and I'm gonna use because nothing gets the movies they're coming out with these days, man. There's like almost no better reference than that. You know what I mean? I'm not going to steal their scenes completely, but I'm going to basically look at all the lighting and the shading and everything and be like, all right, I see what's going on there. You know what I mean? So if I had a light source over here, the armor would be shaded like this, you know what I mean? Or, and it would be reflective here. You know what I mean? I'm going to I'm going to really pull this together. So, yes, basically, I'm not going to steal the Avengers, but you can see this is shiny armor. And so rather than, I mean, basically, these movies are, the special effects are so good now that it's almost like drawing from reality. You understand what I'm saying? Like the special effects now are so real that the movies are almost like a still life for a comic book artist. And if you have, you know what I mean? I'm sure I can watch enough Avengers and find Iron Man flying out over the ocean somewhere or something like that. You understand what I'm saying? And be like, all right, there it is. You know what I mean? And, okay, the light's here. And okay, maybe the light comes from a different angle in my picture, but that I see what the light side of the armor looks like and the dark side and what the ocean looks like underneath them, and da 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 da. You understand what I'm saying? I'm going to start literally, and I'm also going to get some action figures. You got to have action figures, you know what I mean? So I'm going to get some action figures too. I'm going to have to invest a little bit of money in this, but I'm going to do an Indiegogo, and it's going to be cool. I'm telling you right now. Death Angel Squad, Air, Land, and Sea, or Land, Air, and Sea, I think is how it's going to go. Land, Air, and Sea. And they recruit, you know what I mean? Like, basically, they have like what they basically try to get into an area, you know, and do whatever they have to do before the military comes and the feds basically. And then if they get out of there, if they can't, they fight the militaries, and that they try to just fight the first wave of military and get the hell out of there basically. And and they basically go after corrupt politicians and like powerful drug lords. And then later on, they find out that there's like bigger forces at work. And, but I don't need to get into all of that. Yeah, good night, Nighthawk Warrior. I'm going to go to bed too, actually. I just wanted to announce, I wanted to announce the beginning of basically the first issue of Death Squad or Death Angel Squad and Indiegogo. And I will show you. I'm going to be drawing live. I'll probably be doing another podcast this weekend. And by then I should have some inks. I have to go out and buy some supplies. I kind of used all my inking supplies for other things around the house because I'm always, writing on labels or whatever, this or that, or doing paperwork. So I've used up all my ink pens for other things. So I got to go buy ink pens. I got to buy some pencils and some paper. I got to get some probably Strathmore, Bristol, basically. And I'm gonna do this. We're gonna get this together. So thanks for joining me. This is the Action Artist, and join me again next time. Good night, everybody.